When Robert walked into his home, the shrill echoes of laughter still clung to his ears. The faded wallpaper in the corridor seemed to bear the brunt of his heartache, while the chipped wooden floor squeaked under the weight of his despair. As he trudged up the staircase, each thud of his boots reverberated through the empty halls, sinking with the throbbing ache in his heart. Tears streamed down his face as he locked himself in his bedroom. A room that was once filled with joy and childhood fantasies now stood as a stark reminder of his isolation. Amid the clutter of his youth, the marionette doll sat eerily in the corner of his room, concealed within the shadowy confines of his closet. Its once charming smile, painted with the finest ochre, now bore an uncanny, grotesque grin. The doll, a memento from his late grandfather, seemed to be his only silent companion in this cruel world. With sobs still racking his body, Robert stared at the doll, a glistening tear trickling down the wooden contours of its face. To his astonishment, the doll seemed to move, its smile deepening as it whispered in a hollow voice, "Are you okay, Robert?" Robert couldn't believe what he was seeing. Was this just a product of his battered psyche, or was the doll truly sentient? With a shaky voice, he responded, "No, I am not okay. Those kids, they won't stop." The marionette doll moved again, its eyes glowing with an eerie blue light. "I can help you, Robert. I can make them stop. All I need is your permission. Say the word." Choked by desperation, Robert nodded, his heart pounding. "Yes, please, make them stop." The following morning, the doll was nowhere to be found. As Robert journeyed to school, he felt a strange, eerie chill in the air. Halfway through his route, he heard his name being called. The voice, a hollow echo, seemed to emanate from an abandoned building. As he stepped inside, the sight that met his eyes was horrifying. The school bully, Jake, hung upside down from the ceiling, his face a mask of terror. The marionette doll appeared from the shadows, its once charming smile replaced by a horrifying grin. "See, Robert, I've got him. He won't be a problem anymore." "But this is not what I meant," Robert cried out, looking at Jake, his heart pounding. "But it's the price, Robert. The price you must pay." The doll's voice echoed around the empty room, its stringed limbs moving unnaturally, tying Robert to a chair. He struggled, but it was of no use. "What price?" Robert whimpered, the doll's glowing blue eyes reflecting in his tear-streaked face. "The price of watching your tormentor's downfall," it explained, its voice as icy as its stare. Robert could do nothing but watch in abject terror as the doll began its grisly task, all the while keeping its eyes firmly on him. It was as if the puppet wanted him to witness every horrifying moment, to brand the memory into his consciousness. Jake's screams echoed through the building, mixing with the ghostly whispers of the marionette, creating a symphony of terror. Days turned into weeks. With every bully that tormented him, the marionette made them disappear, subjecting Robert to the horrifying spectacle each time. He was trapped in a nightmare of his own making, a puppet himself, manipulated by the strings of the marionette. The last bully, Toby, disappeared in the same macabre fashion as the rest, leaving Robert alone with the twisted doll and the echoing memories of its grisly deeds. In his solitude, the reality of his pact hit him with brutal force. The spectral tormentor from his school days was gone, but what remained was an eerie marionette and the blood on his conscience. The once lively school corridors felt like an uncanny ghost town, a chilling reminder of the gruesome deal he had brokered. One day, as Robert sat in his room, he heard the creaking sound of the closet door opening. Out came the marionette, its paint chipped and faded, the eerie blue glow in its eyes dimmer. "I've done my part, Robert." The doll's voice echoed around the room, the jovial note in its tone replaced with a timbre of solemnity. "And I've paid the price," Robert murmured, his voice shaky with remorse. The gruesome images played again and again in his mind, the screams of his classmates forever echoing in his ears. The doll nodded. Its once terrifying grin now looked almost sympathetic. "But remember, Robert, every action has consequences. Even though they tormented you, they didn't deserve the fate they met." With these final words, the marionette doll walked back into the shadows of the closet. Its hollow voice seemed to reverberate around the room, even after it had disappeared. "We all have to pay for our actions, Robert. Everyone pays." And with that, Robert was left in the deafening silence of his room, the horrors he witnessed forever etched in his mind. The school hallways were quiet now, and he was no longer a target. But in his heart, Robert knew the cost was too high. The guilt and fear seeped into his being, a haunting echo of the price he had to pay for his desperation. Time moved on, but Robert's life was frozen in that horrifying moment, a chilling testament to the puppeteer's promise. The bullies were gone, and so was his innocence. All that was left was a high schooler, trapped in a macabre tale of revenge, forever haunted by a marionette's grim smile and its chilling words. When you subscribe, be sure to hit the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.